After so many years, hounded by hatred and trapped by fear, I'm in a box. I've got no place to go. If I follow my mind, I know I slaughter my own. Help me, I'm the prisoner. Won't you hear my plea? I need somebody, yeah, to listen to me. I beg you, brothers and sisters, I'm counting on you, yeah. Black babies in the womb, shackled and bound, chained by the caveman who keeps beauty down, smacked on the ass when they're squalling and wet, heir to a spineless man who never forgets, never forgets that he's a prisoner. Can't you hear my plea? 'Cause I need somebody, Lord knows, to listen to me. I'm a stranger to my son who wonders why his daddy runs, yeah.
Peace and love, family. Welcome again to the NEPPC podcast, the NEPPC show. I'm Brother Frank, and I'm with former political prisoner
Abdul Islam.
Today we focus on the price of being right, right? We are told that you're supposed to stand up for yourself, stand up for what's correct, even if you have to do so alone. And that's what we're focusing on today. You know, our political prisoners, our martyrs, you know, they have stood up for what was right. They stood on principles. And that's a very important way of life that they are committed to living. And so we have to discuss that. And what does it mean? And what does it mean to us, knowing that there are people who chose to take this position, regardless of the outcome, regardless of the consequences? Because prior to them being political prisoners and being martyrs, they understood what was at stake, because they were not the first and they won't be the last as long as the system that oppresses working class people, that oppresses people of African descent, continues to stay intact. So what does it mean to us, knowing that there are people who made sacrifices and who are punished because they stood up for what's right? You know, let's have that discussion. If you're tuning in now, you got a comment, we'd like to see it. We'd like to engage. You know, let's work together as a people, because being organized is the only way that we're going to move forward and make some strong advancements in our everyday lives. I'll be rocking song.
Peace and love. In our culture, you know, one thing we hear much and need to hear all the time is stand up, you know, have courage, be a real man, be a real woman, stand up for your rights, you know, do not bow down, do not shrivel, you understand, and collapse, you know, and let some oppressor have their way, you know, and treat you, you know, like a dog, you know, or a piece of crap, a piece of garbage, you know. Stand up. We are valuable, very, very valuable human beings, and we understand that standing up, you know, is a risky thing. That it can, that there can be a price to pay, a great price to pay. You know, we have had martyrs, you know, who stood up, and we live and benefit from the stands they took, like Dr. King, Malcolm, Brother Fred Hampton, Lumumba. You know, these are people who stood up, you know, and it cost them, you know, but also the price involved in that is the benefits, that, you know, really limited, not full benefits we have as human beings, but the limited benefits we've had against, you know, this very, very cruel, punishing, violent system. You know, this ain't no easy thing, you understand? And we understand that, you know, and we're willing to make that sacrifice, knowing, you know, what can happen, you know. Also, in standing up, we realize that in standing up, there's not only that there's risk, but there's benefits in standing up. You know, I mentioned those martyrs before, you know, who stood up. You know, Brother Malcolm. You know, people spoke up, like Mumia Abu Jamal. You know, punished for his speech, for telling the truth. You know, there's a punishment for truth, you know, against a system, you know, that you know, gains through punishment and violence and taking people's rights. You know, so these are things that don't come easy. They're not just guaranteed to us. It's necessary to stand up right now. We have to look at, take a look at what's coming in the very, very near future. You know, if we elect Donald Trump has was likely to be the next president. You know, he has said that he's going to be a dictator from day one. You know, and you know, some of the things real quick.
While you get that, you know, there's nations that they suffer because they stood up for what's right. You know, you have like Zimbabwe with the sanctions, the illegal sanctions, and you have Cuba with the blockade. What you saying, brother?
Yeah. All right. Some of the things in proposal 2025 is what Donald Trump is coming with. Some of the attacks on us include cuts to overtime protection for 4.3 million workers, stop efforts to lower prescription prices, limit access to food assistance, which an average of more than 40 million people in 21.6 million households rely on monthly, eliminate the Head Start early education program, which serves over 1 million children annually, cut American Rescue Plan, ARP programs, which has created or saved 200,000 jobs, restrict access to medication and abortion, push more than 33 million people enrolled in Medicare, for Medicaid Advantage and other workforce, exposed the 368,000 children in foster care to risk of increased discrimination, deny students in 25 states and Washington, D.C. access to student loans because their state provides in-state tuition and undocumented immigrants, roll back civil rights protections across multiple fronts, including cutting diversity, equity, and inclusion-related DEI programs and LGBTQ rights in healthcare, education, and workplaces. Okay, so these are some attacks that is coming from the possibility of Trump being elected, which is a very, very high possibility. And if the other one is elected, you know, she has a history. She also has a history of you know, being a cop. Kamala Harris, you know, her nickname used to be Cop Miller. You know, she contributed much to maximum incarceration. You know, she was a prosecutor. And she would walk step by step. She accompanied Biden all the way in the genocides in Gaza. You know, so in the electoral processes coming up the election this year, you know, we don't see no real feasible tactic for us to take. The real tactic that we have to pursue is for masses of people, you know, to come together and raise holy hell. You know, that is the strategy that we have to take to assure our rights. You know, neither one of the candidates in the upcoming election, you know, can assure our rights. You know,
right.
It's very, very dangerous for us to, you know, to think, you know, to believe in that myth. Go ahead, brother.
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt you, brother, but I was just had a thought. You know, we have to get comfortable with standing up for what's right. We got to be comfortable with the possibility of there being some backlash, some attack on us for being right. And I think that, you know, that's the example of political prisoners like Kamal Siddiqui, Imam Jamil Al-Amin, Mumia Abu Jamal, Reverend Joy Powell, and many more, right? We always provide you with information so you can learn about other political prisoners that we might not mention. Not that we don't unite with them being identified as political prisoners, but you know, we have so much time to do so much work. So we have to do what we can with resources we are available to have. But you know, anybody at any given time could take it upon themselves to address those other political prisoners that we're not mentioning. To use the resources that are available to all of us. You have a cell phone, you have the opportunity to do a podcast. You know, you just have to put it upon yourself that is something that you're going to be responsible for doing. That's something that you're going to take on very seriously, because our political prisoners are waiting to come home. We have to organize to make that happen. We are responsible for them not dying in prison. And the way our responsibility come to fruition is by us doing some serious work, organizing, making commitment, having regular engagements with political prisoners, whether it be on the telephone or it be written letters. It's going back and forth, building a relationship, being more determined today than you was yesterday regarding freeing a political prisoner. They can be free. Like me and the brother Abdul Hakisham was just talking about Jalil Abdul Muta King, recently married. He has a new life, you know, a new chapter in his life, beautiful life, him and his wife. And, you know, and I salute him and his wife in regarding that big step, that major step. And, you know, may the greatest of powers grant them many beautiful and successful years in this chapter in their lives. You look at Jalil Abdul Muta King, he was incarcerated for more than 49 years. He got to spend the rest of his mother's life outside prison. She's a strong woman, held on, declared her son's innocence. And, you know, he got to come home and spend time with her and before her transition, right? You know, he didn't die in a prison. And now he has a life that he could live, and we're all proud of what he's doing for his people, for his community. He still know what he's supposed to do as a person who stands on principles. He's one of the political prisoners, one of many people that I admire and respect tremendously because they talk the talk and walk the walk. And they let people know that, you know, you don't have to be afraid. You know, you don't have to be afraid because of the consequences that are going to come from being right. Because these children, you know, they deserve our best, and we have to give them our best. And the way that's going to be possible is by what we decide we're going to commit ourselves to doing. And this is exactly what political prisoners do. And brothers like Kamal Siddiqui, sisters like Reverend Joy Powell, and Imam Jamil Al-Amin. That's why we give you books, right? We show you books that you should have copies of yourself and learn about the mind and the ideas of political prisoners, former political prisoners and current political prisoners, right? But Mumia Abu Jamal had a number of books that he put together for over 40 years that he's been incarcerated. He's done his work in terms of raising people's consciousness, having a critical examination of concrete conditions, and letting people know that the system is not going to correct itself. The system must be done away with, and a new system that deals with people's rights, right? The right to food, clothing, and shelter, inadequate food, clothing, and shelter. We are working class people. We work, and it's all for our labor that the system is able to come into existence. So therefore, if it's our labor that is at the nucleus of the system, then the system should adhere to our demands. And we have to make that demands real. And how do we do that? We do that by organizing, right? Like the Black Panther Party, the Black Liberation Army, the December 12th Movement, number of organizations that have been doing the work for a number of years. And once we understand how serious that is, then we contribute at whatever level we're comfortable with contributing, right? Going to meetings, giving donations, reading a number of publications that need to be read and sharing it with others, having study sessions amongst people and struggle to raise their consciousness. And out of that consciousness, deciding that something must be done. Because to stand on a principle is to live a beautiful and full life, right? Because how comfortable are you seeing something happen and looking the other way? How comfortable are you when things are happening and brought to your attention and you don't want to deal with it? You want to change the topic. You know, that might work one day, but then one day you're going to be forced to make a serious decision. A decision that not only going to impact your life, but the lives of those around you and those coming after you. So let's be very honest with ourselves and serious when we talk about our political prisoners and we talk about our martyrs. they live a respectful life. And we should show respect to them. We should make visits, right? We had seen Joy Powell not too long ago, beautiful photo. We used the photo to promote this episode. Joy stands on principles. She never stopped smiling. She never stopped talking with confidence. She's never stopped engaging in discussions that are beneficial, not only just to herself, but to her people who she loved. And that was one of the things that I wanted to discuss. What would make someone so committed to an idea that they're going to accept whatever comes with it? The answer is love, Love, right? That love,
That's right,
is very, very strong, very powerful. And they understand, conscious of the usage of that word. They know that it's not something that they just say nonchalantly. It's something that is a code of conduct. It is a code of ethics. It is a code of principle. It is a code of morals, and responsibilities. And that's exactly what political prisons are about. They're about morals, responsibilities, accountability. So we invite you to join us, the Northeast Political Prisoner, in doing this serious work. If you're a writer, we invite you to join us as a writer and write whatever you're comfortable with writing regarding political prisoners. And if you're an artist, we invite you to showcase your art on our platform or whatever platform you're comfortable, and write a piece of art dedicated to political prisoners. Donate a portion of the money that you earn off that piece to our work. You can send it. You can send. Matter of fact, the proceeds off your donation can go directly to political prisoners. You split. If you sell it for $500, and then the price that you wanted to sell it was for $400, the extra $100, you can divide that amongst a number of political prisoners. Because if we all can do something, right? If 10 people gave $10, then that's $100. And if 10 people gave $20, that's $200. So we just have to think like that in terms of the collective working together, organizing, making a commitment, and regarding not losing so much or not compromising so much out of their personal lives if there's that bothered by making that level of compromise. Because these are questions we have to ask ourselves, because as the brother laid out what's coming, right, we have to deal with fascism developing, and we have to ask ourselves, how do we combat that, right? We got to combat that by being organized, being very serious about what's happening, and active, right? So when you, as a former political prisoner, and you understood the price of being right, how did you accept that?
Well, I accepted it by studying and understanding the nature of the system, studying the history of the system, what has transpired in the past, and to appoint myself and to make myself a soldier, to stand against this, in the most vehement manner. That's what I did, to gain much understanding of the system, and the necessity, to work to combat all the evils that come from very, very wealthy corporations exerting their will. Right now, Proposal 225, says that the corporations will have a free reign doing anything they want to do, and as well as there being a price for standing up, there's a price for not doing nothing. For example, breathing in cancer-causing chemicals in the air we breathe out it is not even free no more, not even safe no more. Cancer-causing chemicals. It was said that this past June 21st was the hottest day in history. So not doing nothing, these things gonna get worse and worse and worse and worse. So there's a backlash, but we got to beat back the backlash, and we got to be aware of the power of the people. The power of the people, you understand, cannot be stopped. You know, the enemy cannot defeat the power of the people. We got to understand that and know that and spread that understanding and encourage more and more brothers and sisters to stand up and fight for your rights. Fight for your life. You're literally fighting for your rights when you stand up, when you organize, come together in great numbers, you know, and make a whole lot of noise. Understand? You're fighting for your life, you know, because you know, more and more freedom is given to these super rich corporations, you know, have committed genocides around the world. More and more freedom is given that, you know, to do what they want to do. And the price that we pay for not doing nothing is death and a shortening of our life and making our lives more and more difficult, more and more miserable, you know. So again, you know, the theme has to be, our heartbeat has to be stand. Stand up. Stand up like real men and real women. Stand. In the end, it will be you, one has done all the things you set up to do. As Slash Stone said, stand. You understand? Stand, we're going to win.
Absolutely. You know, that's the only way we're going to win, right? We have a responsibility to fight. We have a responsibility to win, right? That's what was one of the lessons, one of the many lessons that our freedom fighter, who is now in Cuba and has been in Cuba for over 50 years because of the mind of brothers like Sekou Odinga and the Black Liberation Army to do what needed to be done to make sure that somebody like her didn't spend the majority of her life.
Besides, of course, alive as well, the FBI can go to hell.
So she wouldn't spend the majority of her life in prison. So, you know, we have to think about that and understand, you know, what does that mean for us? And her lessons, we should not forget, right? We have to continue to fight because this is our duty. This is our responsibility. We're standing on principles. And these principles, a number of us have been standing on for quite some time. And because we decided that we're going to make that decision, you know, we suffer, right? But that's the penalty, right? We are engaged in a war of ideas, and in all wars, there's going to be casualties. There's going to be martyrs. There's going to be political prisoners, captured freedom fighters. There's going to be a number of headaches and heartaches that people have to endure. You know, that's a part of being in war, and we have to really look at that for what it is. And like the brother talked about, gains that were made because of people sacrificing. Just think about the regular work day, the regular work week. Just think about our ancestors who were shackled for centuries, and think about the indigenous people who were killed and the land was took for them. You know, these are incidents that, you know, are horrific, right? But it was the fight, it was the endurance of a number of those fights that led to progress being made. And we have more way to go, but we have came so far, and we can't be relaxed. We can't be comfortable because, like they say in the December 12th movement, and not saying that the saying originated with them, because from what I understand, it started with the Haitian Revolution, but freedom or death, right? We say freedom or death, that is an idea that you make a commitment with to, that you decide that you're going to commit your entire life to that, because that is the purest, strongest, and sharpest expression of love. It is unselfish. It is without fear. You're extremely courageous when you use that term. So in 2024, facing what we're facing, we're seeing a new president coming, and a new president with vicious ideas that are going to have effect on people years to come. And that's determined by what we decide we're going to do, right? We have to challenge the system. You have to disrupt their regular routine operation. And you have to do so because you studied. You studied hard, right? You studied books by Mumia Abu-Jamal, a book by Russell Maroon Schultz, who the book was forwarded by Chuck D, conscious hip hop artist. The book of the Panther 21 collective autobiography talked about their lives, their transformation from certain people who were criminals to being revolutionaries. There are a number of books that are out there that will inform you about what's going on. This book right here, Revolution by the Book, Imam Jamil El-Amin. Another book by Mumia Abu Jamal, right? We make sure that when we come on this platform, we provide you with ammunition, because that's exactly what these books are. They're ammunition. So, you know, we got about a minute before we close this episode, but we just want to say, please make some time to write to a political prisoner. If you need that contact information on political prisoners, you can contact me at 347-679-3936. Again, that's 347-679-3936. Attend the Northeast Political Prisoner Coalition monthly meeting. If you want the link for that or you're interested in that, contact me at that number. That's 347-679-3936. Again, that's 347-679-3936. There's some work to do. And, you know, the work is great and the workers are few, but yet the work must happen. It must take place because we are struggling for self-determination, and we have to protect our perspective as it relates to our self-determination. And our perspective is these are captured freedom fighters who are in prison and need to come home with their loved ones. They are not terrorists. They are captured freedom fighters, political prisoners because of their ideas. Brothers, what's your closing remarks?
My closing remarks is based on what you said, is a battle of ideas. There's a battle of ideas. One set of ideas say to be an animal, you to be a predator, you know, to step on other people's rights, you know, have no concern whatsoever, to be cold-hearted. You know, the other ideas, you understand, is the fight for our human rights, to recognize our humanity. We're reaching out and appealing to the humanity of the audience, you understand, and the value of being a true human being, you know, and to stand on that, to stand on those principles, you know, and we do that, and when a bunch of people come together and do that, you know, we develop a force which cannot be beaten. Without a doubt, we're gonna win. Black power.
Black power. So it's working in our interests. And we got to be the manifestation of it. Please take a picture of this QR code. This QR code will, when you scan it, it'll take you to the link that is a fundraiser for Joy Power. We need to make sure she has proper nutrition. Take a few minutes, take a few seconds rather, take a picture of this QR code, share with others. And what's the call?
Free them all.
What's the call?
Free them all.
What's the call?
Free them all.
What's the call?
Free them all.